Welcome to 1407 Gray Malkin Lane. This is the living memory of the X-Men. Don't let anyone tell you different. All right, I am here with a very, very special guest. He wrote the second volume of Marauders. He's writing Astonishing Iceman right now. He's writing Scarlet Witch. I didn't think I would like Scarlet Witch. It works. I don't know what happened. Give it up for the Stephen Orlando. Yes.
What's up? You're giving me what I want. You didn't think you'd like Scarlet Witch, and now you saw that it's possible. That's like that's the best message that I could possibly get. So
boom, yeah. Like, one oh man, so much I want to ask. So
well, I mean, I'm here for it, but changing people's minds on characters is it's a hidden pleasure of the comics business. So it really is good to hear that. Joking aside, I know I'm often a sarcastic person, but that's like showing people something they didn't know about a character is like it's one of the joys of the business. So
yeah, right, because like you made Scarlet Witch, you stripped down all the other stuff and you made her like, I want to be a hero helping people. And they come to me. She kind of has that old Sam Spade type of thing. Like she's like an old school gumshoe, and like, I needed to pay the rent, and then this person just came into the door, fighting sentinels.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see Wanda bogarting a cigarette like the icons, but otherwise, I think you're very on.
It just, I'm a big Maltese Falcon guy, so like. I would love to just see somebody just draw that for like Halloween or something. Just Wanda will looks good in hats. That's just me.
Wanda with a cigarette that is holding to her lip only through magic. Like you don't even know how it gets there or how it stays there. I just rewatched Ghostbusters, and there's this when they're in the hotel and they see Slimer for the first time. I swear to God, I don't understand the physics of how Aykroyd's cigarette stays on his lip. Like it hangs on. Like it's mind blowing to me. But this is clearly what we came to talk about. But I also like the Maltese Falcon. By the way, did you know that there was a one from the so the Bogey one is what, the 40s, right?
Yeah, 30s, 40s, like around there.
Well, so did you know that there was a movie version of it before that
Yes.
got so I just finally found a way to watch that because supposedly it got shut down for being like, too audacious in a variety of ways, including, I guess, like with some sort of queer subtext. So I finally tracked it down, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's not as good as the Bogey one, obviously.
Of course
not. But I didn't even know that was real until a couple years ago.
Yeah, like just, and plus it's set in San Francisco. I'm from the Bay Area, so it's just like, I love it. Okay. My first question to you is, what X-Men character would you like to take for the next 10 years?
I'm sorry, ask me that again. 10 years is a long time.
Okay. What X-Men character, like, would you like to, like, if you could, you take them and you just drive the story of the X-Men with that?
Oh, well, I mean, God. Well, first of all, the cop-out answer is in this economy, I would take any character for 10 years because these days you're lucky to get 10 issues. I always remember back in the day, the halcyon days of the 90s, I remember when I was a kid, I remember being like furious that a book I liked only got 36 issues. And now, I mean, it's like, I mean, that's quaint. To answer your question though, it's kind of a cheat, but it would be fun to do like a Rasputin family book. Like, because I love Colossus. I love Colossus. He was my boy when I was a kid. My grandmother's Russian. I lived in Russia in 2007, which I end up saying a lot on these things. But that being said, it'd be fun to work with Colossus, but also with Magic and also with Mikhail. So that's 3 characters, right? But like I would love to do that book for a while and dig in, because once you're there, you can dig into the other Russian mutant culture type people like Vanguard, people like Darkstar, Urza Major, things like that. So, but if I had to pick one, and if I really had to pick one, um, I mean, it's hard not to say Storm, right? Because I think she's
Yeah,
one of the best comic characters
she is dope.
that
Yeah,
there is.
she's crazy. She's crazy cool.
You know, like it's not just the best X, one of the best X-Men characters. I just think that she's one of the best comic book characters. So it's kind of hard not to say that.
Yeah. um, I like how you said you would want the Rasputins because I always thought of them as the Starks from Game of Thrones. You got the really crazy older brother in Mikhail. You got the quiet one with Colossus, and you got like the chaotic neutral one with Ilyana because she just does. It's like she starts fires all over the place and goes, "Hey, hey, it was shiny sword." I don't know.
Yeah, she's an instigator. She's an instigator for sure. We
Yeah,
all like to think we're Colossus, right? Like the quiet artist, but we're probably all actually magic at the end of the day.
I and nobody wants to be Mikhail because that guy's just the worst. Like
Yeah, I mean, his power is cool, but he's sure a piece of shit. But then again, if you're doing a family book, like everybody's got one wild family member. Maybe not Mikhail Rasputin wild,
oh no,
right?
no,
But
no. I mean,
I mean,
Mikhail.
one of my cousins printed his own money in the 1980s. So you know, like we've all got one.
I mean, just to add on to how Mikhail's a piece of shit. He originally remember when Ilyana died from the legacy virus.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently Mikhail was the one who gave it to her.
Wow.
Like this happened like back in New Mutants, like Truth or Death, and it was like you found out like, wow, Colossus really is the best one. He's really the best one. Um, okay. My second question is, what X-Men would you have in a group chat? Like if you're friends and you're just anybody.
I mean, as someone who wrote her, there's the truly explosive answers that it should be Cassandra because she was the most fun to write and she'll say anything. But she did do that genocide that one time,
Yeah.
so maybe not her. Um, she is fun though. You know what? I'm trying to come up with some surprising answers, and there's like idiot ones, like oh, it should be ice cream, right? But that being said, I think it would be fun to have Himbo Shatterstar in the group chat. I think so. Like
I
that
would
might be my answer. I would say Thunderbird because like me, Al, and Leah brought him back from the dead. I've been working with him, and I love Thunderbird. He's like one of my favorite characters to write. But I would argue that he doesn't have time for that shit and would not be interested in a group chat anyway. He
he doesn't
probably
like
doesn't even have a
anybody.
cell phone.
He doesn't like
He probably doesn't even have a cell phone, if I'm being honest. He's probably
no.
still got a landline. So, like that, my real answer is not applicable.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Um, what was your thought process in choosing the roster of the Marauders? Because you had kind of like a motley crew of like who's who of like, and I love that. Like the fact that you took Temple, you took I don't know how to say his name, Carl and Sominus.
Dominant, yeah.
Dominus. Yeah,
Dominus.
you took him, you took Aurora. It was like you're picking like, okay, I want these guys.
Well, I think that so first of all, the thing is you do it all for cast chemistry, right? You got your core character. In this case, it's Pride.
Yeah.
And Pride and Bishop,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, who's gonna challenge Pride? Who's gonna support her when these fights break out? Who's gonna provoke these characters and make interesting things happen? And it's one of the reasons we use Nova, by the way, is like what better to first exemplify the Krakoan era and the amnesty that all these characters get than the fact that Cassandra's on the team even after she did Genosha. But then, of course, like we're only human, right? Or we're only mutant in the
Yeah,
case of the
yeah.
Marauders. So, like, we always knew that Pride was going to use her and we were going to have her fun with her. But eventually, Pride was going to get her back, right? And then she
Oh,
finally had her moment. But other people, I mean, it's all different reasons. Like Somnus, uh, look, I mean, I created him to honor actually one of my neighbors in Boston, who's an older gay man himself. But I've created between Marvel and DC and anywhere else I've worked, like I've created a ton of original characters, and it's always like, well, that's great, but they need to keep appearing to stick. So it
right.
was instantly like, well, we just did Somnus in the Pride issue, so let's try to get him in there a little more. And then you can kind of build. It's kind of like yes and right. Like once we knew Somnus was going to be on there, we know that the other big character that he's associated with is Fang
Yep.
slash Akihiro.
Yep.
And then we saw that he was with Aurora in X Factor,
Yeah.
and that was like a chance for us to say something new. Like the low hanging fruit is love triangle, and I've
Yeah.
done those elsewhere. But for here, like we'd seen that, and I try to give people something that we haven't seen before. So here was a moment where, like, yeah, like Aurora and Somnus have both been with Fang, and rather than like this weird tension, it's them ganging up on him for being a maniac, right? Because they're very cool with that, and with each other. Tempo, look, I'm just going to be honest. I used her because I thought what Jerry did was awesome, and I wanted to continue the spotlight that started in the previous Marauders.
Nice.
Quanon, similar thing, with starting with Fallen Angels and then with Hellions. She was just like the breakout character for me, and I wanted to do what I could to move her away from. I mean, move her more in her own direction, right?
Right.
As we like evolving her powers a little bit, so she didn't have the exact same power set as Betsy, Captain
Yeah.
Britain for Betsy Braddock. And sort of showing that now that the right mind is back in the right body, she's continuing to evolve and be her true self. So it all comes, I mean, like there's different, I mean, you sort of, you almost have like a draft, especially in the X-Men office, because we're all in the Slack, and and it works out with who's going to bounce off each other, and who's gonna blow things up, and who do we have things to say about. And these are all characters I thought that I had something interesting to say about. And of course we had the rotating final seat anyway, so we could have different people come in.
All right. You mentioned Psylocke and Tempo, who were probably two of my favorites. One piece I think you wrote it was when Tempo was having a conversation with her girlfriend, and the girlfriend was like, "Oh, I don't want date," and she just started just like, "Okay, I would have speed this up." she just used her powers to just fast forward through everything she had to say, and like, let's get to the breakout. It's like, wait, did you just fast forward me? Like, I'm like, come on, let's keep it moving. And Psylocke, what I don't was it you, like you had her hair in different styles, because like it would be one issue it would be long, but then another issue she would have had it tied up in like little buns. And I thought that was a nice little touch.
Well, that's our book, but I give a lot of room and respect to my collaborators. So unless, I mean, if so a lot of those changing in styles for Psylocke was mostly on Eleonora.
Nice.
But I consider that a good thing, right? Like if a lot of other writers think differently, or at least say differently, and that's fine, by the way. Like no one's right or wrong, but for me, like if I want to have my zone where I get to do my thing, then my artistic collaborator should too. So unless it's like obviously if something is germane to the plot or like going to change the meaning of something, then we step in. But with someone like Psylocke, with a lot of the characters, Eleonora had free reign to present them as she saw fit. And the thing is, especially in the Krakoan era, we've seen like characters, much like us in real life, can wear different outfits on different days. Their hair can be
That's cool.
different in
I love
different
that.
days. And like, it's like, we had Polaris in the classic costume, and like I'm sure there were people, oh, like it's not on model. It is on model because people can wear
Whatever they
any look they
want.
previously wore, kind of like in the real world where only in like Power Rangers do people wear the same exact outfit every
Right.
day.
Okay. Is there an X-Men era that bummed you out? that ever just like, ugh, let's get through it.
Not in that way, like, because that's just not how I mean, there might have been stuff. I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to think about the right way to say this. There might have been stuff that I would do differently,
Sure.
but I don't. I try to, I enter into whether I'm watching TV or reading a book or things like that, or reading a comic, take your pick. Like, I go in trying to look for the positive. It's just kind of always been my way as a reader. So there's definitely things that maybe I wouldn't have done as a creator or things like that. And there's times I've been sad. I've been sad because I was supposed to be sad.
Right.
Like, you know, E is for Extinction, the beginning of the Morrison and Casey era, like, yeah, was bummed out, but that's
Yeah.
because we had to see Sentinels eradicate most of Genosha, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And then it came around.
yeah.
So like I'm never truly like, let's just get through it, because I go in wanting to like things.
Right.
I'm not blind to it. It don't work. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that'll be safe for me to shit on. Oh, how about Mutants Can't Get AIDS
Right.
from the mid
Oh,
2000s?
wow. The Chuck
Like,
Austin era.
you know, uh, uh, and Angel bleeding into other people. Like, so mutants can't get AIDS, but Angel has healing blood and just bleeds into people. It's like the reverse metaphor, right? It's like the only, like it's almost rubbing salt in the wound to people who do struggle with that,
Yeah.
because he's literally the thing that gives it to you to
Yeah.
save people. So I thought that was um poorly thought out, is what I'll say. And I probably wouldn't have done it, but that being said, like, that's a great example because people love to shit on the Austin run, and I guarantee I could go back and find some things that I at least thought had potential.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
it's not my favorite run, right?
Yeah.
But I would still prefer, like, me, like, I almost look at it as a challenge,
Hmm.
I mean, both as a creator and as a reader.
Hmm.
People listen, because at the end of the day, I've never met Chuck, but he's just a dude like you and me, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he thought that stuff was great. For the most part. I mean, it's also possible that he was backed up against the wall with schedules and things like that. But the point is, he didn't set out even that scene we just talked about. I'm sure
Hmm.
he thought that was progressive in some way. So, um, yeah, I mean, I could name other runs too, but I would still probably go back and be like, you know what? I think this had something. Maybe it wasn't. Well, look, because at the same time, he gave us the Squid Boy, right?
He gave us
Sammy the
Juggernaut
Squid
on the
Boy.
team.
He also gave us Juggernaut. Didn't he give us Juggernaut and She-Hulk fucking? Oh no,
Yeah, yeah, he did. That was him too.
that was, well, because that also happened in the Slott and Pelletier era of She-Hulk, I think. But no, but so that's kind of the thing. Like, and I could, I mean, what bummed me out? The reprint era that I wasn't alive for, because we didn't get new comics for
Oh,
like
that
years.
that was rough. You felt like you're reading ancient text when because they're all in black and white. Like this happened so
I mean,
long
I didn't feel
ago.
like shit, dude. I didn't feel like shit because I wasn't born until 1985. But the idea of just running old comics is devastating to my soul.
Oh man. Yeah, I like I'm very similar to you. I like there you got to find the positive. With Chuck Austin, I always looked at it like, okay, he gave us Juggernaut on the team, he gave us Squid Boy, he gave us he he told us who Nightcrawler's father was. He did an impossible task. And
For
then
now.
yeah, right, right. Um, and then if you look at what was going on at the time, you had New X-Men written by Morrison, you had Extreme X-Men written by Claremont, and you had Uncanny. I think Chuck was trying to he was trying to stand out from those other two guys because Morrison he was hitting out the park. Claremont, same thing. Like,
Oh, but Morrison is a good example to prove our point too, because that run is largely amazing. But it still had a scene where, like, Beast jokes about being gay to shit on Trish Tilby, right? And by the way, like, in 2004, as a young up and coming queer kid, I was like, wow, they said the word in X-Men comic. But now as an adult, I'm like, is that the right move? But also, like, whatever. Like, the point is that doesn't magically make it bad. Like,
no,
literally nobody bats 1,000. Not Gmo, certainly
no,
not me,
no.
not Jonathan. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
So, like, And I'll admit I have a soft spot for Extreme X-Men.
Oh, it's
Um,
great. Extreme X-Men is great.
I don't know if I can say that word, but I have a soft spot for it, and especially the stuff with Vargas. I just always thought that, but that's a good example because I thought that that was a great idea
Yeah,
that was kind of unexplored, and but at the same time now it's kind of been like Vargas is kind of the same concept as the Children of the Vault. So
yeah,
like I mean because they're both like humans that have
yeah.
evolved. But at the time I was like, this is a really cool idea. But it bummed me out to bring it back to your question that it was a really cool idea, and then he was just a dude that wore black and had a sword.
He was a
So
Highlander.
I and he does successfully kill Rogue, so good on him.
No, he killed Psylocke too. I mean Betsy. He killed Betsy too in the
Is
third
it?
issue.
But who gets stabbed? There's a cover where like they like that's
Oh no,
Rogue,
no,
right?
no, no, no. He stabbed both of them. He killed Psylocke and he stabbed Rogue through Gambit through Rogue.
Okay. Yes. Now I'm remembering. It's been a
Yeah,
minute. Uh, but no, I like that. I mean, looking at the same time, like I think I struggled with that run at the time because I came to Marvel. I followed Morrison from Justice League, and it just wasn't new X-Men.
right.
But at the same time, like it gave us Sage, who is
Yeah.
20 years later. She's like she. I'm not going to say she's A-list, but she's an ongoing presence in the books, which is hard to do.
Right.
You know, look at how many people
Yeah. I
you
always I,
go.
I always thought like when I first saw her, I was like, they should if they were to cast her in a movie, they need to get Carrie Ann Moss. Like she's basically Trinity. They
I did also love that like Grant just made Sage a literal computer. Like as a kid, that's probably not the way that Chris was thinking about it, circa like 2002. But the fact that she became an actual computer with like a nerve bundle that you could hard reset her and stuff,
right.
like I was just
Control Alt Delete.
amazing that I didn't just like come up with a mutant who's a fucking toaster or something, and you're just like you
Come
press on
on.
their shoulders, you press on the shoulders, they vomit out toast.
Oh, that's
Uh,
what do you mean? What would you call that?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I used ice cream in Mutant First Strike, so I can find it. I didn't use snow cone, but I did use ice cream in First Strike. So don't stop me now.
Hey,
Anything's possible.
hey,
And like, here's the thing: for Snow Cone Hive, like it could have been Snow Cone if it was only adults, but I just thought the optics of someone pooping out ice cream for kids who just had
yeah,
their town destroyed was a little bit much.
yeah, I
But we
get
love
that.
Cone as well.
Hey, hey,
She's
hey.
not actually pooping it out, by the way. She's not actually pooping it out. She has a dimensional portal in her
Yeah.
butt.
Oh, I get
Uh,
that. I got that. It's kind of like Cyclops with his eyes. They're portals from a punch dimension. That's what
we love the punch dimension in the X Office, by the way. Let
the
me tell you,
punch
the
dimension.
punch dimension, the punch dimension is a frequent motif in our discussions.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I love that. Um, are there X villains that you think are just misunderstood?
Well, yeah, but I don't think that doesn't make them villains.
Right.
Um, I mean, the best example to me has got to be the post Hickman era Apocalypse, right? Like,
Yeah.
I love, and by the way, like, and you find out so much more about, like, obviously, I'm working there right now. I love the era we're in, but if I had to pick the single best thing to me, it would be the work Jonathan and Al did with Apocalypse. Like, he went from, I've always loved him, right? But I always looked at him before as kind of like the X-Men's dark side. Sorry to make things about DC. I
Oh
did
no, no,
work
that's
there
fine.
for
No, it's fine.
so like I've always kind of looked I did before like he was like the X-Men's dark side. He was like the final boss basically or one of the final bosses, but he wasn't necessarily that complicated or deep. That's what made him cool to me. He was like primal, he was chthonic. And like Darkseid. Like Darkseid is scary because in a way there isn't more to him. He's just like that pitch black evil, right?
Yeah.
And that was the thing with Apocalypse. But then when they peeled these layers back and you found out all these other things about why he was about survival of the fittest, I don't know. I loved him. I thought it was like he went from kind of like a force of nature to still this immensely powerful character, but he was so well rounded. So like and so it's, and I do think he was misunderstood, but the guy is still a villain,
Right, of course.
you know. So and I won't say that about Cassandra. Cassandra's not misunderstood.
No.
I mean, like Magneto's an easy answer, right?
Magneto's a dick.
But,
Magneto's a dick a lot of the time.
yeah,
Like,
but I mean, he did survive the Holocaust, so there's that.
yeah.
You know, well, Namor is a great answer too, but Namor is an anti-hero. But I also just fucking love Namor. So
What is what is an anti-hero though? It just seems like it's not a hero, not a villain, just somebody just a practical person. Somebody's just super
I mean,
practical.
there's a real answer, but it's, you know, but the functional answer is that it's someone who's a hero, but they're a dick about it. I mean, like if you think about Constantine, like there's a real I went to college answer, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's that, you know, like Namor will save your life and then fuck your wife. Like and that wasn't meant to rhyme.
No,
But
but it did.
that's kind of the vibe, right?
Keep going, keep going. No, no, I love that. I love like that's a really good answer. No, also what I know is like I follow you on Twitter, and you're probably one of the most gracious people on there. Like you will respond to people being jerks, and you're like, well, and then you'll give such a nice
Well,
answer.
I may, you know, I appreciate that. I might have learned my lesson after last week. So, but I'm clearly still doing podcasts and things like that.
It's I love it. I love that just you will interact, and like that's so cool. It's just you can just be like somebody's being a jerky, like, you know, I'm gonna be nice, but I'm still gonna be an asshole. Twitter.
Well, it's, yeah. I mean, I strive. I mean, listen. Most people, my people that know me say that I'm kind but not nice. But I do strive to think that, like, I just wish that we could be like a little. I don't want to get onto this too much, but I do wish that we could just be a little better to each other. You know, like
It's
I
a
don't
little
know what else to
nicer,
say.
a little more considerate of each other.
Well, but I say better and kinder because, like, to me, like, listen, I've traveled a lot for work. Like, nice is kind of bullshit, right? Like, nice is like when I go to somewhere, and you know, oh, and you get like, oh, like, bless your heart. Well, like, bless your heart is actually go fuck yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, I would much rather have a gruff person that I know exactly how they feel about me.
Yeah. You know where you stand.
And you know, so I just wish we could be like a little kinder. And that's really all I'll say about that. Especially because, like, to be frank, like, the burden is on us as creators to go low when people go high, you know? So there's a point in time where I feel as though people are taking advantage of that, right? Like, how can I'd be like, you know, when Conor McGregor boxed Floyd Mayweather, of course Floyd was going to win,
Right.
because
He's an
Conor
actual
couldn't
boxer.
Conor couldn't do half the shit that he does for his. And I'm not a big Conor McGregor.
Oh no, yeah,
fan.
I got you.
Like, he could only do like 40% of the things that he does in his profession, and Floyd could do all of those things. And that's kind of what it feels like sometimes being on social media. Like, we're Conor McGregor because we can't, like, someone could be like, hey, you know, fuck you, jackass, and all these things. And we just have to be like, well, we really appreciate the feedback. So, yeah, I wish we could be like a little kinder, but also like, whatever, you know, I do a lot of cons, and they're great because they remind me, like, most people are excited. That's why I do podcasts too. That's why I'm here talking to you. Like, most people are excited. They want to talk about this stuff and share what they love. And you know, that when that's not the way on social, whatever, because you can always just sign off, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I remember reading an interview with you probably like a year ago, and you said that you really liked late 90s X-Men, like when German Garcia was doing the pencils with Joe Casey and Stephen T. Siegel. Yeah, like
I mean, I hate to do this to you, but only
yeah.
because he's my mentor. That was Joe Kelly.
Oh, sorry, Joe. No, I'm sorry, not Kate. Kelly. I always get those two mixed up. I like Joe Kelly, and I love Steve. Like, okay. I remember as a
It's
kid.
okay to mix them up. They
Yeah.
literally work in a studio together, so it's okay to mix them up.
So JC, JK. No, I remember their run started out so good, and then like something happened, and they did remember this is 1998. There was no social media. We just had to we just follow Wizard. We just follow Wizard magazine, and which they really need to bring back. Wizard magazine, right? Just
I know a whole generation of people who will never get to be on their top 10 list. Like it's all I wanted to do as a kid.
oh,
Um,
and remember that X-Men special they used to do every summer.
yeah, I mean, that was there was like, oh, man, the number zero issues or number half issues they did where they were like, I actually got into Witchblade because of the Tomb Raider Witchblade, like number half issue they did.
Nice.
Uh,
Very cool.
and so no, I love that. I also loved the X-Men stuff you said. I loved like the fantasy battles. I was telling my boyfriend about this because they would always like Namor versus Aquaman, and the art would always be lit. It was like a double page spread. And I remember, which is hilarious to talk about now. You may or may not remember that when they had I think must have been their April issue one year. But their battle was Tim Drake, pardon me, their battle was Jason Todd and Bucky, and it was just two skeletons lying on the ground because they were never coming back, folks.
Give it 5 years, then they not yet. That's funny. I like that. I really
It's amazing. Like, my boyfriend doesn't read a lot of comics, and he doesn't even watch a lot of wrestling either, but he does pick up random things. And one of the things that he picked up is that Bucky was supposed to be dead forever. So now every time we see the Winter Soldier,
you're like
Jason Todd, is that the one that wasn't supposed to ever come back and now he's back? Same with for wrestling fans. Like my boyfriend doesn't know a lot about wrestling, but like if there's like a John Moxley match on, he'll usually come in after like 30 seconds and be like, "Oh, is he bleeding yet? No, something must be wrong."
that that's true though. That's as it's
Well, yes, folks. Moxley is bleeding right now because I said John Moxley. You should know. He's just like sitting at home and he's like,
yeah, right. Or somebody just hit him in the head. And he's like, "Oh, somebody's thinking about me."
Renee, she's like, "Oh, someone said Moxley again." Bonk.
Or yeah, Renee's like, "John, I thought I told you to eat out the trash." Oh wow, I would watch a reality show with those two just to see what they do. Just see him all just super grumpy. Just see Box super grumpy is great.
It is. Oh, they are a unique couple, but love conquers all, and I would never question it. But I'm like, Renee, you're like seem like the nicest, calmest person, and you're dating like this surly and like werebear that like comes out of the shadows and like saunters out to like soft murder someone every week.
Imagine what and I imagine they've brought the Blackpool Combat Club for like a barbecue or dinner or something. It's like, so you're bringing some of your soft murder friends to my house? I don't want to be a part of
that's when Moxley bleeds, right? Like everyone shows up, but there's no vegan burgers for Danielson, so he's just fucking and like that's it.
Oh my God.
Fire poker.
Oh, thank you for you're an AEW fan. Thank you so much.
I mean, I wrote a book with Nyla Rose. It's my favorite X-Men book I've ever written.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Where is all right? You brought him back. Well, no, you didn't bring him back, but it was Leah. But
Leah brought him back.
Yeah.
Leah and Lucas, yes.
Yeah. Where is he right now? Where do you think he is right now? I know he's probably not. Yeah, I know exactly. Nothing coming up. I assume he has nothing coming up. So we could just where is he?
No, you know what? I've said it on I said it on X-Men Monday, so I'll say to her he does have something coming up. Him, Danny Moonstar, and Sunspot are the stars of the main X-Men Unlimited arc, which is running. So we're not doing we did Sunspot, or pardon me. Sorry, folks. We did Sunfire. We did Firestar right now. Oh, fuck it. So like after that, we're doing a holiday special. And after that is when the main arc picks up. And that's going to run throughout Rise of Powers of X and Fall of the House of X. I'm probably confusing those long names. But the Jerry, Al, and Kieran series, Resurrection of Magneto, and the two others, Unlimited is going to run throughout those. And we're gonna be featuring a lot of people, but the stars are Thunderbird, Moonstar, and Roberto. So I can tell you where he's gonna be. He's gonna be beating the shit out of Orcus people in very creative ways. He kills one with a field plow in our first episode.
There, all right. I like that. Okay. Also, I always wanted to see like what you did with your Marauders run. You actually had the mutants meet. You're like, hey, I want you on my team, because a lot of these characters like don't know each other. You're like, hey, they're like, and I wish more writers would do that. I wish like we know that Danny and Roberto know each other, but do they know John? They know his brother, but they don't know John.
Well, nobody knows John. That's kind of the fun thing, right? Like, and that's why we like when I sat down to talk to Nyla, I worked with Nyla, and then I'm doing this Dreamer book, so I have Naya on my mind as well. I'm writing him in Nicole to me. But when I sat down with Nyla, we realized like John's been dead in mutant time, like in comics time, longer than he was ever alive, and so like nobody really knows him except for the original the original team
and his brother.
But everybody knows like the holified, deified version and that happened, right?
Right.
And that's one of the things we just like. This guy was an asshole before he went away.
Yeah.
And like now he's back. He's still an asshole, like asshole with a heart of gold, probably. But like, they were like, oh, Thunderbird,
Yeah.
But like, he's a dick. I mean, he's hopefully a lovable dick, but he was the guy before. Like, he was making fun of Wolverine for being short. He kept calling Cyclops one-eyed, despite him constantly saying not to.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so he jumped for a plane into everybody told him, don't go for the plane. Banshee was right there. Don't, just jump.
Oh yeah, no, but so it was really and to contrast him even with Warpath, I mean, that was the thing, right? Because he's notably older than James. I mean, had he been alive the whole time. So like, I don't know. I'm extremely proud of that book, like getting him back together with Warpath, creating the grandmother that they both have. Because I don't know, like there's something about like this tough guy who like hates the world but has a soft spot for like his grandma.
Yeah. Like, I love you,
like
grandma.
who probably like, well, actually, but like Nyla and I both had very influential grandmothers. So both of the who were not hard but very tough, like they had to be. So like that came from something in our own lives. But like, there's that scene where they're sitting in the trailer and she's talking about how she says something akin to like, I used to wipe your ass and I can still kick it.
Yes.
And most people would probably get their head punched off their body for saying that to him, but she can't.
Because like, that's grandma. That's grandma.
Exactly. And she probably, for all we know, she still could.
Right. Oh, hey, we don't know she's not a mutant. Just saying. And also, I like how you explained her. It's like, oh yeah, I was your grandfather's first wife. We broke up, and I was mad for a long time. I'm like, I respect that. I did, like, because we never heard about, because before then like the entire family like their entire tribe was wiped out by
by the dude from the giant size, actually.
Yeah, under Stripe's orders, which was so like, I'm like, anytime we have Stripe, I just want Warpath to be like, so yeah, I've been waiting for this ass whooping. I mean, just I want Warpath to do more. I love Warpath.
Warpath is in Unlimited as well, and then he'll probably come back towards the end of it. I mean, I like him too. There's just only so much time, and I myself am more of an asshole, so I gravitate towards Thunderbird. But yeah, no, that's his vibe, right? Like he's that, even in the issue, like he's that guy, murder no man.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if someone did something bad enough, he would probably just sneak away and kill someone and be like, well, what are you gonna do? Like
And also like
they would
my
try to put him in the pit and he would just be like, well, I'm just gonna leave, like
was like I'm out. Um, my thing with like my I like Warpath better than Thunderbird because like with Warpath we already seen like I mean everything with Thunderbird we've already seen with Warpath. We have already seen him be the angry I hate Xavier. I want to get revenge for what happened to my people. And then he got over it. And then like it just seems like we're seeing a regression with John. We're just seeing like, okay, this is what Warpath used to be, you know?
well, and also without making an unintentional pun, I'm sorry, they're probably on different paths, like
Yeah.
uh, and I mean I do think that Warpath is much more centered. um Yeah, no, I mean, I like writing them both together. They're both in the opening issue, and hopefully we get to do more. I just, yeah, there's a lot. There's a ton of Thunderbird stuff that would be really fun if we get enough time in the future. But for now, I'm very excited that him and Danny and Roberto are the stars of Unlimited coming
Hey,
out.
I'm happy for it too. Congratulations. Like, because X-Men Infinite, X-Men Limited, that
Yeah.
has been probably my favorite and the most consistently to me, it's been consistently good. And I just always been thinking like, how come these stories aren't like the main ones? Like, how come these aren't printed? Because this is
Well, we
great.
hope they collect them. I can't answer the why,
Oh,
but because our is just to make the comics, but I hope that they get collected. I mean, the I will tell you, like, I'm really excited. Fox and we're writing it all together.
yeah.
And I'm very excited for folks to see the three-parter for the holidays because we get to see we put it together in conjunction with Al. You've actually already heard mentioned what folks on Araco do for New Year's. It involves beatings, as you might imagine.
Of
Um,
course.
but I was really happy to put that together with him because we were like, well, like we want to do a holiday special, but the challenge is to like we don't want it to be what people expect. So we're doing the Iraqi New Year, which again,
Yeah.
if folks who've seen the phrase "Blood Dawn" in an X-Men Red, you'll see what that is. And yeah, we got it'll be very fun 3 issues, and we touch on Earth a little bit, but we want to do something a little new. And I also just think like it's very fun making Iraqi characters because their names are so absurd.
I am the unbroken. I am Tarn the unput. Tarn the
Yeah, I mean, absurd. I mean, you got to understand, folks, like absurd is not a pejorative phrase for me because I love the absurdity of comics. So like when I say that, it's good. Like, and I
yeah.
love everybody's name is helpful. Um,
Oh
but anyway, yeah, that's coming up very soon after our Firestar arc, which just kicked off this week, I believe, and we've
yeah, I
seen
read it
that.
yesterday. I read it today. Um, love it. I'm digging it. I'm like Firestar has become probably one of my like she reminds me of Leonardo DiCaprio in The Departed. Like she's undercover. She does not want to be there. She's calling like I feel like she's calling Sync like get me out of here, okay? I will be on the I will get on this fucking play. I swear to God. Just
And just like DiCaprio in that movie, her Boston accent is terrible. I promise you, that's canon.
oh man, I'm like, I'm not from Boston, so like it just sounds all I couldn't tell.
Oh no, I mean, dude, I'm not. I only came here 5 years. I'm from New York originally,
Oh,
but
okay.
I love the Boston accent. Like people think I love accents. People think I'm making fun of them if I ask questions about theirs, but I'm absolutely not. I think that they're fascinating, and so
The
I mean, my
regional
boyfriend.
dialect, like,
Well, if you've seen Mayor of Easttown, his whole family is from has an accent called the Delco accent, which is a very specific outside of Philadelphia in Delaware County. And it's unlike any other way of speaking in the country. It's fascinating. Kate Winslet had a very hard time learning it. And I can't even do it actually because it's like my mouth can't make those noises.
yeah,
Uh,
you have to be
but
from there
I
to do it.
But yeah, no, so I love it. I mean, and when I find someone with like a true like 10 out of 10 Boston accent, it's like I found a unicorn. Like I get very excited.
You're like, I didn't know they made you.
I'm just like, keep talking, give it to me. Tell me where to park, like, but
That means two things. All right, I have a question from what I asked I had I had asked my followers to send in questions, and this one is from Shinobi Shaw. He says, we saw Cerebra and Brimstone Love in Marauders Volume 2. And Mr. Orlando, you will be writing the upcoming Spider-Man 2099 book. His question is, will we see X-Men of 2099 anytime soon? Crystalline was always one of my favorites, and just imagine what Metalhead would do if exposed to Mysterium. Well,
word. So
yeah, a lot of words.
I love 2099. I love X-Men 2099. I would say I would ask. So the next miniseries is all focused on Miguel teaming up with different horror characters
Okay.
that have been brought to 2099, or introducing 2099 versions of them. That said, if Shinobi Shaw, which I assume this is the real Shinobi Shaw with the
Right, of
density
course.
shifting power, and the patricide, um, I mean,
Attempted
Sebastian got better.
patricide. Attempted patricide. That wasn't his day.
Um, anyway, if you haven't checked out the Spider-Man 2099 Exodus miniseries, because we've done two before, there is my favorite issue of that series, and my favorite I've done in 2099 so far. There is an X-Men 2099 issue. So if they have not checked it out, if you have not checked it out, and you're listening or watching, Crystalline is in it. Metalhead sadly is not. He is off with a team. I didn't make up their name, the X-Petitioners. That was a real thing that had been made before. So the Expeditioners.
Expedition.
But yes, we could only have like 13 people in the cast for space reasons. So we did have to take half the team and send them off. But it would be great to tell that story. It'd be great to do more. I would literally, speaking of Wizard, do you remember when Mark Waid said he would write Fantastic Four for $1 with Mike Wieringo? That is me and X-Men 1999. I would prefer to get paid money, right? Because that's how can be used to buy goods and services. That's what Homer Simpson taught me. But I would really do anything to write more X-Men 2099. So hopefully we get to do more. But either way, please check out Exodus, the X-Men issues with Kim Jacinto. So many, like, honestly, we have classic characters from X-Men 2099. We have some new ones. And the new ones are some of my favorite mutants that I've made up. I'm sad that I couldn't bring all of them to the present, because I love the new Phoenix. I especially love the new Phoenix. I love the new Phoenix, the new North Star, and the new Cyclops are like just some of my favorite originals I've ever created. So I hope I can work with them again.
I would like to see that. I will definitely check that out. All right. The last question is, what is your favorite piece of headcanon, and can you prove it?
I don't have to, because I'm a creator.
Fair enough.
My headcanon just canon, maybe.
My headcanon is that the New Mutants like rap music, and they got Xavier into it. Because we all know how teenagers, when they go to bed, they like to have the music on. And Xavier, he can't turn his powers off. So he's just catching all the music all the time. So like one day he's just like, he's wheeling around and he's just singing J. Cole for some reason. I just he'll just start like, first of all, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. What? Who is Uncle Phil?
My God. Okay, but I will answer. So I don't have comics headcanon because I didn't try to like unintentionally high road that question. But the joking aside, like, I'm in the industry, so usually if I like something enough, I pitch it as a story and I make it canon.
Right.
But I will tell you, I have a very complicated headcanon that combines at minimum all the Matrix movies and all the Terminator movies, and potentially all AI and evil robot movies forever. But at minimum, those two franchises. Um, because I'm an idiot. And as a kid, I was always like, well, because by the way, like they're kind of the same movie. They just, the lenses are different. James Cameron's lens is more like mine because you go bam and you shoot something plonk in the face. But like, and then the Matrix ones are for people who think. But that being said, when I was in like high school or even middle school, circa 1999, I was like, oh, these are kind of similar movies. So I do have one. It's just not for comics. And it's that all of the Terminator movies are a prequel to all of the Matrix movies,
Yeah.
with the implication that we lose at the end of all the Terminator movies. And that's how we all become batteries. But that is, so I do have a headcanon. It's just probably even more esoteric than something about comics. But in my
Man,
mind, like this, like all the Terminator movies are us trying to fight, trying to survive, and then we finally lose. And the robots realize they can turn us into batteries. And then hundreds of years in the future, after that, is when the Matrix movies start happening.
man, all right. If I may, I'd like to add on another movie onto like another movie that's a prequel to Terminator. The 2004 film I, Robot with Will Smith. Because it's
That could
essentially,
fit you. As I said, that's why there was the asterisk of maybe other evil robot movies as well.
yeah, I've thought about that theory, like yeah, this is connected to this, and this has to be to this, and then like when you start looking at movies that way, as a comic book fan, I start looking at movies like, wait, this is a insert character's origin story, like Black Swan. If you want to understand the Phoenix, watch Black Swan. If no, I had a, when you had those like, it's the same thing. Or the Born Identity movies. That's just Weapon X without the claws. Same
uh,
concept.
I mean, a lot of there's a theory on. I also will tell you,
Yeah, please.
it's not mine, but there are plenty of articles you can find about how we've already had a fourth world movie, and it's the 1980 question mark Masters of the Universe movie.
Yeah.
And I also kind of like that because once you start to look at it doesn't quite fit, but it fits enough
Right.
with Skeletor being Darkseid. And I mean, I also just fucking love Frank Langella's performance as Skeletor in that movie. I'm often quoting movies, even though people don't know it, because I can't help myself. Like I've said this before, but like I can't say Raisinets and not say it like Harvey Korman in Blazing Saddles. I can't say I can't say I got it and not say it like Anne Hathaway in The Dark Knight Rises when she's getting the how to use the bat pod like
Yeah.
bat splained to
I
her.
got it.
Um, and because she's just so condescending, she's like, "Yeah, I know how to drive a fucking motorcycle, idiot." But I also uh, I also just love like Skeletor's "I dare anything." Like he's so over the top.
Yeah.
Like I must possess all, or I have nothing. I'm like, what? That's like the best explanation for a villain in the world, actually. Like it's so succinct. He's so insane. Like, but I also like, I mean, I had an I dare anything, I'm Skeletor shirt for a while. So that's kind of like my philosophy. I
He
guess maybe I am.
Skeletor kind of reminds me of Ricky Talladega Nights. He's like, if you're not first, you're last. Like, what? Why does it have to be one or the other?
I mean, he's canonically less evil than Hordak. Like
Yeah,
like Hordak is. If you watch the Christmas special, you know that Skeletor has a soft spot for kids, and
yeah.
Hordak is just like fuck them.
Like,
Uh,
I love that phrase. Fuck them. I saw it.
Truly.
So I saw it in Soul Man in 2008, and it's like, I want to incorporate this into everything. I work at a.
Wait, hold on. Soul Man, the super bad look movie from the 80s, or is there
No,
another movie
no.
called Soul
So
Man?
no, the one with Bernie Mac and Samuel Jackson that came out. It was Bernie Mac's last movie before he died.
Is that also not the name of a movie from the 80s where a
It
dude
is.
does blackface in college? Okay.
Uh,
Like,
you know what? I think it's called Soul Men, or I'm checking it out. I'm checking it now. So,
believe it or not, I haven't seen that piece of shit. So
it,
I know that's.
no, the Sam Jackson one. Sam Jackson was just
Oh, that one. That one.
oh,
Yes.
that's just it's just
But
nuts.
yeah, I've seen some bad movies from the 80s, but that is not one of them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Soul Men. It came out 2008, and just 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 crazy. Just you just want two old black men just arguing with each other. just and and Bernie Mac is just like the way he says motherfucker is just hilarious. You can't.
It's very good. It's actually a unique talent to be able to say to swear in like a memorable way. Like he is very good. Obviously, Sam Jackson is very good. Um, Dennis Farina, I find also is
Mm,
very good at saying fuck. Rest in peace. Underappreciated though. If folks have not seen it, I will say Dana DiLorenzo, who plays shit, what's her name? Kelly from Ash versus Evil Dead,
okay.
also says fuck in a very good way. And so
Robert
does
De
Frank
Niro.
Thierry. But if you ever see him at a con, Frank Thierry's, I say fuck a lot, but Frank Thierry's like
I
he's like
love.
a fucking seventh level wizard at swearing.
I love Frank Terry. Also, Robert De Niro in the movie The Family. They talk about it like, he says fuck a lot, but he says it with a different tone every time, like angry, happy, sad. Like it's crazy. But
Sure.
yeah. Oh,
It's a skill.
but Steve, thank you so much for doing this. I know we're looking at the time. I'm looking at the time right now.
But we can go a little over, but yes, I do have to run in a minute.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, what? Okay, what are your top like? Do you have a dream of writing the main X-Men book?
Oh well, the readership makes it so easy and they're so
Hmm.
welcoming. I think that I'll in 2024 I'll be double teaming X-Men and also Amazing Spider-Man. I'll be writing it from a bunker, but I'm doing both. No, um, I'd be a fool to say no, but honestly, I would probably rather do that Storm solo or like I don't know. Yeah, so I'd be a fool to say no, but there are other things that might interest me more on a purely creative level because we've done a Marvel team book. I'd love to do Wolverine, for example, because I'm a violent I mean, I wrote Midnighter, so I can certainly kill people in creative ways.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
so but of course, yeah, no, it would be fun. I also like I loved the original X Factor conceit where they were like, and I always thought this would be a good time for it. We've done different things, which is fine in the Fall of X era, but like the original conceit that they were like mutant hunters that were
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
leaving and
yeah.
like
They were like a search and rescue. They were a search and rescue team posing as mutant hunter. That that would be cool. That would
I
be
thought that was way that for the 80s, I thought that was very ahead of its time. So I've always really liked that. I would love to explore mutant history more. Like a book that didn't happen. Like I would love to explore like you got like those three villains or villain adjacent people, Stonewall, Crimson Commando, and Super Saber. And they were mutants in World War II. Like I would love to like dig into like the different eras and things like that. There was a time when Iceman was going to be, it didn't happen, but there was a time when he was going to be using his like absolute zero power to like skip through time in the miniseries.
that's interesting.
And we were going to reveal like mutant speakeasies and stuff in like the early like mid the 1910s, the 20s, where like you could like go and like with the right passcode and things like you could go and be a mutant around other
That's
mutants and things like that. So
that's
that
cool.
would be fun to do too. Like those things really interest me. I'd also just like, I don't know, there is a somewhat maligned group of mutants that are the villains of this X-Men Unlimited run, and that I can't spoil yet. But I will say that the tragedy is that, I mean, not the tragedy, we got like 22 episodes of X-Men Unlimited to work with them, but I've come to like them so much that I kind of want to write them more and more and more now. And you'll find that out soon, but I can't spoil the villains yet.
I like for me as a like I always thought it'd be really interesting if we were to see a limited series with more of the creation of the X-Men from Moira's point of view. Like because like like we from her first appearance to when she died and what she did afterwards, because that's a big I thought Hickman was gonna do something like that. I thought like, oh, that'd be so cool to do. Just like see where she was, see what the legacy virus did to her, if she was conscious during the age of apocalypse, why did she get a golem, what she did afterwards, just like you know fill in the cracks, because like I see that as one glaring plot hole. Because also I'd like to see Deadly Genesis from her perspective, like, yeah, I told Charles not to do it, but fuck him.
I can make it even. I can cut even deeper. Like one of my favorite low key X Men teams was the Muir Island X Men. So like if you really,
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, go
I
deeper.
also I got to admit, my peers regularly throw slings and arrows at me, but I do love when the whole team is wearing the black and yellow.
Oh yeah, that's
Like
the New Mutants, or the when they went into Spade.
well, I mean, like, well, the Muir Island X-Men, they're all
Okay.
wearing it. There was an era like in the '90s where it was the blue and yellow at that
Yeah,
point,
okay,
but
yeah, that was cool. That was a like they don't do that.
I I mean, there's a reason I specifically put the Threshold 3 in the training uniforms just so I could have someone in the black and yellow uh in Marauders, because I was just like, this stuff is like, I don't know. I love it. I love because you get the little touches of the character, but then they still have that team feel. Same goes
Yeah.
for the new X-Men era. Like it doesn't have to be the Kirby uniforms, but I like
No,
when everybody has some sort of visual continuity.
absolutely. I just want to see like how did they get there? How did Rogue decide, hey, I want to wear a pilot jacket with my yellow and green uniform. That'll work. Or
Well, it was very in vogue in the '90s. Everybody was wearing leather jackets, man. I mean, like practically you had to have one to become an Avenger in the Steve Epting era. So,
there.
I think she's trying to show up. Rogue's actually almost never had a bad costume though. Like I'm sure that someone will point one out. So I said
Oh
almost,
no,
but like
she looks good in everything. I mean, remember when she had the full green, she like the full green
well,
cape.
green and white. I will admit the green and white Rogue is my favorite Rogue color scheme, which is weird because I met her in the cartoon. I should love the Jim Lee design the most, and it's classic.
Yeah, of
But if
course.
I had to pick one, it's always going to be one of the green and whites. I just think that always looks super cool.
And plus like it really, like when she did that during the Mike Carey run, I was all like, this that outfit totally just tells you everything about Rogue right now. She
Yeah, no shit. I like that so much that I heavily based Rogue 2099 off Mike Carey, specifically in Age of X when she's Revenant.
yeah, it was
But we did a similar thing where she can basically use almost any power that she has used in the past, and she's like containing all these different lives inside herself. She even uses Dupe's powers in X-Men 2099.
I love it. And
I
the
think I
fact
got
is,
away with that.
yeah, and the fact is, she said, "I want Mystique on the team because I know she's going to betray us. So I'm going to break her arm off and shove it down her throat." I'm like, that's the best answer. That's the best extra ever, having Mystique on the team, because you're ready. You're ready for her to pull some dumb shit. Like, oh man, this is whew. But okay, this is I just thought of this. What era of X-Men would you want? Like, if you could choose any era of X-Men, where would you want to have jumped in?
Well, it's not a lie that the current one that I did get to jump in was one of them. Like I love the energy of the Krakoan era, but I would also be lying to not say the new X-Men era.
Yeah.
Or for me, also the Outback era. I
Yeah.
love the
Oh,
Outback. Like
a
those
buddy
are
of
my
mine loves that. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
those are my big three. Those are my big three. Other than like I said before, like I would love to do like a Lost Generation book, but that's like a super deep cut, right? I just
Yeah.
but I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
But the real answers are the new X-Men era or the Outback era. I mean, I'm a huge Will Portasio fan. So like I would actually, I mean, he's still a bucket list artist for me.
Yeah.
I think he did those characters wonderfully. So I don't know. And because I was already a reader and trying to break into comics during the new X-Men era, the real answer should be the Outback era, because truly I was like 4 years old, so I could not actually participate in the industry at that time.
Man, it's weird. We're the same age. We are literally the same age. I was born in
I mean,
85.
me too, but I was also pulling out of my ass when that happened. I think of the Outback era as late 80s, early 90s, just based on who was drawing it, but
Right.
I couldn't actually tell you the year it happened.
Oh man, I see. I didn't get into uh those guys until like way later. So like Lobdell was like my first X-Men, right? Lobdell and Nicieza, like right there. So when Claremont came in, I'm like, I don't know you. Like, I don't. It's like everybody like, I don't know you.
Speaking of good ideas with questionable implementation, Scott Lobdell,
Yeah,
folks.
yeah.
Um,
Hey. He did some great. I thought he did some cool stuff when he had. No, I'm sorry. That was Warren Ellis who had Forge proposed to Storm. She hesitated, and he's like, "Bye." No, Lobdell.
no, I mean, I think that Fabian.
Yeah.
I think Fabian is a much better writer than Scott, but
Oh, yeah.
I do think that Scott had some great runs and also had some great ideas. Like I said, like I mean that's the way. Like I'm always trying to polish a diamond, like
Yeah.
so. So like there was some great stuff to come out of that era.
I mean, Age of
Um,
Apocalypse, Fatal Attractions, Felix Covenant. I like Operation Zero Tolerance. I like
Fatal Attractions, man, that was like
that was nuts.
I mean, like now I don't know why Magneto brutalizing Wolverine made him lose his nose for a couple years, but I did always think that that was like just man, that was a very good crossover. I was a big Fatal Attractions guy to the extent, pardon me, that every time we do like even on 2099, they're like, we're throwing back to the 90s. What should we do? I'm like hologram trading card in the cover, hologram trading card right in the cover.
Yes. Oh my
Haven't
god.
been able to get it done yet, but
Yeah.
folks, I promise I'm asking about it all the time.
The summer specials is coming around. It'll happen the same time when Wizard is relaunched. Like we're going digital now.
No,
But
God. Yeah.
oh, that'd be crazy. But Steve, thank you so much for doing this. This has been so cool. Like um it was a long shot. They like coming at you at the Comic Con. I was like, is, is he gonna is he gonna like my is he gonna say yes? Is he gonna say yes? But you've been so
I'll
gracious.
always say that. I mean, well, that's very flattering, but like I'm very easy to approach because like we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the luxury of writing comics without folks like you not only buying them but helping spread the love and spread the word. So this guy will always be available.
Right. And hey,
And I'm
but like I don't want to put too I don't want to I didn't want to like put too much and just assume that you would. So I was like, that's where the nervousness comes in. Like, okay, he's his own person. He has other stuff to do. If he says yes, that's great. If he says no, that's cool too. I'm still gonna read it. I just, I yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate this.
it's my pleasure. I'd be happy to come back.
Oh, absolutely. Like after the first couple issues of X-Men Infinity, I'm calling you.
Well, yeah, give me after Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver starts as well. But, like
Oh,
we had Polaris, we had Joseph, right? So we have mutant related characters. And
yep.
honestly, like that's a longer talk, but I was so happy we could do that arc with Joseph. And now to be fair, I'd had one half of a glass of wine while sitting in the Fast 10 screening, but I did look over that lettering pass and get a little emotional at his death scene. So I feel like I had done good work there.
Oh,
And
oh,
if anybody, like when I look at the issues and people are like, I didn't care about Joseph, and now I do, I'm like, we've done it,
you done
you
the
know.
job. It's all coming to plan. Oh, okay. One last thing with Wanda. I know you can't reveal anything. I know you can't. But is there any chance we can get her meeting her daughter that she had with Nightcrawler, meeting TJ, Nocturne?
TJ. Well, I like Nocturne. There's always a chance. I got to be honest. I got to see what she's up to. Because there was a period of time where a lot of multiverse characters were which she was from Exiles, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
So a lot of those were off the table. But I listen. The mandate of the book has been to explore Wanda's buck wild family situation. So if we get long enough, I would love to do that. That being said, she's not in Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. However, two people from her family that have yet to appear in the book are in Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Very cool.
So we are getting towards her. And yeah, if we could find a way to get her in, I would love to do it. I mean, I think that there's interesting romantic possibilities between Kurt and Wanda in the main book. That being said, Kurt's a little busy with Silver Sable right now.
Yeah, well, he's not exclusive. He's not exclusive. But think about this. Think about
I'm sure that historically the most Catholic mutant is definitely not exclusive.
but think about if Wanda met TJ and they had dinner and they had to bring the families together. Wanda's family, Kurt's family, and we already know Mystique hates Magneto, so we just know that Mystique and Destiny are just gonna make a lot of sideways comments toward Magneto. It's like, oh, so Max, where's your husband? Really? just the banter. You don't have to have anybody fight. You just have it'd be like August Osage County.
Well, with a little more fighting than that. I mean, Wanda just turns Mystique into a cat, and then Mystique looks at the camera, seeing if anybody remembers Ultimate X-Men or not. But
they go, and Magneto goes, okay, let's get into it. Who here has slept with Mystique? Everybody raises their hand, and Polaris I was dating Havoc at once, and she just wanted to mess with me. I think she likes to do. I think Mystique will like to do that, just to mess with people, break up relationships. I don't know.
We have to bring back Marvel Max for that book, but
oh yeah, right. It's just fun. It's. I watch a lot of Archer. I watch Archer. That'd be really funny.
That's your head. Well, it's funny because actually Jessica Walter is one of the people that I have in my mind when I was writing Cassandra. So she's not the only one. There's some Jessica Lange in there. There's definitely some Jean Smart. But the condescending nature of Jessica Walter is very much within Cassandra.
Oh, if you want to throw in somebody else for Cassandra, look up Michelle Gomez from Doctor Who. She played the Master.
I'm a big Doctor Who fan. That's a different podcast as well.
Oh, all right.
I'm familiar with Michelle Gomez.
4 things we have in common, bro. 4.
I love Doctor Who, dude. I was just we got to do this quick, but I'm a Capaldi guy. But I like as surprising no one based on what I've talked about. There are things I like about every Doctor.
Yeah, of course.
But if I had to pick, I would be, and I'm very sad that he claims he's never coming back. I really hope he does at some point, because
Eccleston was my first.
Well, but Capaldi's also said that he's done. He doesn't seem as angry as Eccleston.
No.
But he has said that he's done. I'm excited for Kuti Gatwa. It's been so long, to be honest, since we've gotten new content.
Yeah, Doctor.
Have you been watching Tales? Have you been watching Tales from the TARDIS?
Yes.
I'm getting so emotional as these, even just that quick scene. So my pre-reboot or not pre-reboot, pre-relaunch.
Yeah.
My favorite Doctor was. So that little scene, not even in Tales from the TARDIS, but I think it was in one of the specials before Jodie regenerated, where Seven gets to meet Ace again, for a split second.
Oh yeah, yeah.
fucking bawling. I can't lie to you. Where he, just like, oh man, I was very, very into that. I'm a big Sylvester McCoy fan. But I liked Capaldi because he, like, I don't know, like he seemed like the cool uncle that you shouldn't piss off, right?
He really was. I mean, like he knew he was gonna die. He came in on a tank with a guitar and sunglasses. Like, "Ah, this is what I
Well,
do."
I mean, Heaven Sent is like maybe my favorite Doctor Who episode ever, but it's also the same as the ending of Doctor Strange. It's just done better, but it's actually basically the same ending.
And the way
I could watch him doing that bird speech on repeat, man. It's better writing than I will ever produce, and I'm happy to say that.
I used to thought Doctor Who was the best thing on TV. They had the best episode, best writing, best acting. I mean, the season finales made you want to fight with them. Like at Journey's End, at the end of the fourth season, you wanted to be like, "I'm right here with you, Doc. Let's go. Let's take them out. Let's just do this." Like like you wanted to go out. You wanted to go in on the Daleks. like they ain't getting in this TARDIS. Not today. Nah.
I will say, I'll leave you with this. I thought
that?
that Jodie, I'm excited for Jodie to come back because I think she was an okay doctor. That, I mean, she can't help it. I didn't think that the plotting was super strong in all of her seasons,
Right.
but I do frequently. I also thought that Sacha Dhawan had a similar issue with being the master. Like, he couldn't help that he was written as much more like Dick Dastardly than Michelle Gomez was. But there's a point in Flux where we went so far beyond being absurd, where he was dancing to Rah Rah Rasputin as he was about to destroy like all of reality.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm back. Like, it's gone so far that it's come around, and maybe it's genius again. Like,
I think John Sim was probably the best master. Because remember, he had that one song, "I Can't Decide Whether You Should Live or Die." I'm like, oh my. It made me look up that band. I'm a fan of that band because of that song, because of that scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because, well, I almost wish that Sacha Dhawan hadn't come back, because what better ending could there have been for the master than him fucking killing himself? But it's whatever. I mean, I think that the relation. Listen, to bring it back around to like X-Men,
yeah.
I mean, the master's much more evil than Magneto.
Yeah.
But I do love this idea that like they've both been alive so long that even if one of them is terrible, they're kind of each other's best friend.
Yeah.
Because they've both been around like longer than anyone else.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyway, I really gotta hop off now.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Okay, thank you.
We can do a different. We can do a different Doctor Who podcast. I promise. We can talk about the specials. I'll have a lot of opinions.
All right. Thank you. The Stephen Orlando. I'm 1407 Grey Malkin Lane. We'll see you soon.